Hello, everybody. So today we are going to be talking about non-Roman scripted languages and how to learn them as a native Roman scripted language speaker. I am a native English speaker, and I have a decent proficiency in Spanish and climbing up in German and Italian and other languages. And so I want to talk about learning non-Roman scripted languages, and I want to talk about my approach with Russian, my approach with Hebrew, and then I'm going to talk about other languages and also my thoughts on certain applications and certain methods. So we are going to first start off with Russian and Hebrew. So as you see, I have a chart and it starts off with the Cyrillic and then the script and then the pronunciation and then its English equivalent in sound and then the Russian word. This was found in my Living Language Ultimate Russian Beginner to Intermediate book, and this chart really helped me a whole lot. And I highly recommend finding charts like these if you are learning a non-Roman scripted language and or a non-native script to yours. It would just be very important. And since I'm a native English speaker, it put the English at the end. And so I found that really important. And I should have written the pronunciation table in my notes, but I opted out of that. Personally, and because I have this chart right here, and I want to show you all my notes now. Here are my notes. As you can see here, I practice writing, and practice writing has definitely helped a whole lot, and practice reading as well. And I just wrote down a bunch of words and countries nearby and former USSR countries in here, because those are going to probably come up in my studies. And I even wrote just a random phrase like "what the fuck" because I say that on a constant basis in English. Um, and so Russian was super beneficial, and I really liked the Duolingo course for integrating the basics as I went through as I was learning the Cyrillic alphabet. I highly recommend the Duolingo Russian course. I actually really like it. And WeLingua as well did a good job of the letters. I highly recommend WeLingua as well. I'll probably do a whole Russian resources guide probably in January or February, so be on the lookout for that. And now I want to move on to Hebrew, and I want to put it in the same segment. So I have my Hebrew flashcards here. Um, so this is tapuz, and tapuz means orange, like the fruit, and then we have the word for shalom, which means hello, hi, and also means peace. Um, as there's a difference between these two flashcards, obviously, um, and the difference is that one has a vowel marker and one doesn't. Um, and the vowel marker is called Nikud, spelled Niqqud, and the Nikud is basically a vowel marker that helps consonants and other vowels out with giving you the direction of pronunciation. It's common in Torah, but also sometimes in other day-to-day situations. And honestly, I like Duolingo Hebrew a whole lot, especially for the script reading. It really helped, and helped integrate reading Hebrew, and I highly recommend both Russian and in Hebrew for Duolingo. Both of those courses are really good. I used to not see the good in the Hebrew course, but I found the good in it, and so yeah, highly recommend those two things. And I want to talk about what I am doing with other languages. So what I did with other languages was Karina had a workbook and utilized videos online. and the videos online were pretty good. And I also have a workbook, and I will link the video on Korean resources in the iCards in the description box, so you can go check that out if you are learning Korean. And I highly recommend the book source, and I did like Duolingo in that regard for the reading. And as far as Japanese goes, I basically did that in academia for the most part. A freshman in high school, I learned hiragana and katakana, but I learned it also beforehand, so that stuff was easy for me when I was in school. And kanji, I use Kohi. Kohi has been very beneficial, and I bet Duolingo could potentially be beneficial, but I haven't gotten to that point in the Duolingo tree yet. As far as writing, I do not recommend Duolingo at all. Unless you have the iPad pen stylus situation, I highly do not recommend it for the writing portion of the alphabet section, but the reading and recognition of characters and sounds, I would say, is pretty good. I mean, some of the pronunciation is slightly off because obviously audio can be off depending on the day and your type of phone, etc. But ultimately, I would highly recommend it for pronunciation and the reading aspect, especially as you're going through the course and the lessons itself. WeLingua is also a recommendation. I mentioned it in the previous section when I was talking about Russian, but I really do recommend WeLingua because Russian is pretty good. With that, I don't know if it has any other non-Roman scripted languages. That's something you're going to have to check out yourself. And just doing YouTube lessons is highly recommended, and that's what I did for Hebrew, Korean. I didn't really do it for Russian or Japanese, but I do recommend YouTube lessons. And I do recommend workbooks, like I mentioned with the Korean workbook. That was very, very beneficial for me, and I highly recommend that specific book, and that's why I'm linking the video in the iCard in the description box down below. As a wrap up to this video, I just want to say that my methods are different. I prefer to read and write together, or learn how to read then write. I don't want to learn how to write first. I would rather learn how to read then write, so I know that I'm able to read what I'm writing versus writing gibberish and basically messing up my pronunciation altogether. So that's why I prefer to read first and then write, or do it simultaneously and read and write together. And that's basically my method to my madness. And flashcards, I highly recommend. Flashcards, or the Duolingo flashcard review, Quizlet, Anki, I highly recommend for reading. Especially make your own flashcards for writing, like doing reading and writing together. Flashcards good. Like, it really helped me with my Hebrew, even just writing the flashcards alone. So I'm looking forward to doing flashcards as well, as I continue my Hebrew and other language studies that use non-Roman scripted languages. But anyways, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video, and have a great time zone. Goodbye, everybody.